Even if this is technically legal, what the president is doing under an expansive interpretation of Article 2 authorities, I believe it is incredibly unwise.
They're executing lawful orders that they're trained to do. They're completely confident.
Psychological injury to Marines who are going to be told to turn on their fellow Americans. Do you agree that we lack the necessary number of Sealift or auxiliary vessels to meet the logistical demands of a contested environment in the Indo-Pacific?
I think we can do better there, ma'am. I'm not sure I would say we lack. I do think we've pursued a by-use.
Hey, Patriots. Welcome back to the channel. If you love America, believe in strong borders, a strong military, and the Constitution, you're in the right place. Today, we're reacting to a Senate hearing featuring Senator Tammy Duckworth grilling Marine Corps leadership about President Trump's deployment of 700 Marines to Los Angeles during those so-called protests. You know, the ones that were burning cities and attacking property. Let's get into it.
I'm going to follow along on my colleague's chain of questioning. General Smith, I share her concerns and the concerns of the other members of this committee about the mobilization of the 700 Marines in response to the protests in Los Angeles. I am a Marine Corps family. My father, who lies at rest in Arlington, served in the United States Marine, only for a few years. He was an Army officer for the rest of the time, but that man was a Marine until the day he died.
Once a Marine, always a Marine, Senator.
Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. And now, even if this is technically legal, what the president is doing under an expansive interpretation of Article 2 authorities, I believe it is incredibly unwise. I don't condone violence or property destruction, but using active duty Marines for domestic protest response sets a dangerous precedent. When citizens around the country, not just in California, see Marines on the streets of America, it risks damaging their trust and politicizing a force that must remain apolitical and mission-focused. President Trump is asking Marines to be away from their families for a situation that the president himself said yesterday was, and I quote, this is what he said yesterday, simmering but not very much, end quote. Do you, General, have any concerns about the moral injury of Marines who are now being tasked to face Americans and deploy their community in an unprecedented way? And what are you doing to address those mental health concerns?
Senator, Marines will execute their lawful orders. I don't have any concerns that about their moral damage. They're executing lawful orders that they're trained to do. They're completely confident and they're capable of conducting protection of federal personnel and federal property.
I have no question on their ability to do their jobs. They're Marines after all. My concern is the psychological injury to Marines who are going to be told to turn on their fellow Americans. We know, and would you agree that there can be hidden injuries such as mental health injuries to Marines, whether they're at war? I mean, when you go to war, would you agree that there are hidden injuries that can happen, such as psychological injuries?
There are psychological injuries when one goes to war, yes, ma'am.
Yes. Are you concerned that there might be psychological injuries to the Marines who are being told to turn on American citizens during this deployment?
Well, Senator, I would say that these Marines are not being told to turn on their fellow citizens. They're conducting federal property protection.
So you have no concern that there might be Marines that are having a psychological negative reaction to being put on. I'm not saying that they can't do their jobs. I'm saying you have no concerns and you're not preparing for any mental health counseling as a result of this deployment for these 700 Marines.
Senator, we always have mental health counseling available to Marines at all times for any purpose, but I don't have any heightened concerns about this.
Okay. Well, active duty troops are trained for war fighting and not policing. We ask a lot of different, very difficult things of our troops, taxing their mental health. And now we're sending them to turn on their own communities outside of their normal training. I would be concerned for the well-being of our heroes. I want to switch my line of questioning to Sealift and leveraging our international partners. There's a reason that our system is supposed to prevent the use of our military on our soil, except for the most necessary circumstances. Ideally, in coordination with local elected leaders, the alternative is un-American. From my perch on this committee, and the Commerce Committee, changing topics a little bit, I am concerned about our military and commercial maritime capacity. I appreciate the leadership of many of my colleagues on this issue, and I strongly support ongoing efforts to expand our domestic shipbuilding industrial base. Even with this renewed emphasis on domestic shipbuilding, especially of commercial vessels or big-ticket military ships, I remain concerned that we are underinvesting in a critical element of any future fight, Sealift. It will not matter how many submarines or destroyers we can build if equipment, fuel, and resupply cannot make it to theater. And if our troops don't have enough ships to ferry each other and their resupply from place to place within the theater, and this is especially important for the Marines to have amphibious and local resources, I'd like to ask all of our witnesses, do you agree that we lack the necessary number of Sealift or auxiliary vessels to meet the logistical demands of a contested environment in the Indo-Pacific? Admiral, I'd like to start with you, and everybody on the panel, please respond.
I think we can do better there, ma'am. I'm not sure I would say we lack. I do think we've pursued a buy-used philosophy, and those used ships, at least the initial ones, took a lot more work to get them serviceable. The latest ones have been better, but I think a buy new and used philosophy is probably prudent going forward.
Do you think we could benefit from partnering with friendly foreign nations on co-production and co-sustainment of auxiliary vessels, from cargo ships to small supply boats to cable repair ships, et cetera, to build surge production and maintenance capacity within the theater?
I do, Senator, and I also think there's opportunities to bring that work into the United States.
Yeah, I think there's opportunity for both. Mr. Secretary?
I concur with the Admiral. I don't have really much to add to what he said.
What currently prevents the Navy from developing or scaling foreign partnerships to build or maintain our auxiliary vessels, Mr. Secretary?
Senator, look, I think there are a couple of different issues we have to tackle when it comes to those. But I think it's, as I said in my testimony during confirmation, all options are on the table, and we do need to look at this, and we do need to look at both having foreign builders build some ships like this for us, and also, obviously, they're coming here and looking at investing in our base and bringing their expertise. So I think that would be very useful to us.
Or even partnering with American builders, but overseas in theater to be able to provide immediate repair.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, folks, let's break this down. Senator Duckworth starts off by questioning the wisdom and legality of using Marines to respond to unrest in Los Angeles. She talks about her family's military background, which I respect. But as always, Democrats love to wrap themselves in the flag when it's convenient, then turn right around and undermine the very institutions that protect our freedoms. Let's pause here. She admits it's legal because at IS, the president, under Article 2, is the commander-in-chief. When there's chaos in the streets, when local authorities can't or won't keep the peace, it's his duty to protect federal property and restore order. That's not just his right. That's his responsibility. Dangerous precedent? Give me a break. You know what's dangerous? Letting anarchists and rioters burn down American cities while politicians like Duckworth stand by and wring their hands. The left always wants to tie our military's hands behind their back, whether it's overseas or here at home. If anything, the armed forces are being politicized by politicians who won't let them do their jobs. Marines are the best trained, most disciplined force on earth. They don't take orders from CNN or Twitter mobs. They follow the commander-in-chief and the Constitution. If you want to talk about politicization, look at how the left uses every opportunity to bash the military, question their motives, and undermine their missions. Look, nobody likes seeing our military deployed on American soil, but sometimes it's necessary. What about the moral injury to average citizens whose businesses were looted, whose neighborhoods were destroyed because local leaders refused to act? Marines are professionals. They know the difference between enforcing the law and turning on their own people. That's what they train for. Senator Duckworth keeps pushing this idea that Marines are fragile flowers who can't handle tough assignments. That's disrespectful to every man and woman in uniform. Another classic leftist talking point. Our troops are only trained for war. Well, policing is part of the job sometimes, especially when the situation spirals out of control. That's why the National Guard and, if needed, active duty troops are there to restore order when politicians fail. And as General Smith said, there's always mental health support for our troops. But let's not pretend Marines are going to fall apart at the sight of a protest. These are the same people who stormed beaches under machine gun fire. Now, Duckworth shifts gears to something I actually agree with: America's need for more sealift and logistical capacity, especially in the Indo-Pacific. But notice how quickly the left goes from "don't let the military do anything at home" to "let's outsource our shipbuilding overseas." Folks, We don't need more globalist partnerships. We need to rebuild our own shipyards, invest in American workers, and put America first. If there's one thing President Trump got right, it's that we can't rely on other countries to have our back in a crisis. We need American steel, American ships, American power. So here's my take, patriots. Every time America faces a crisis, the left wants to blame the people trying to fix it. They tie the hands of our military, undermine law enforcement, and then wonder why chaos reigns. President Trump did what any leader should do. He protected Americans, defended the Constitution, and made the tough calls. Our Marines are always ready, always faithful, and they don't need lectures from career politicians who don't understand what real sacrifice looks like. If you support our troops and believe in law and order, smash that like button, share this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the president was right to deploy the Marines? Should we be doing more to strengthen our military power at home and abroad? Don't forget to subscribe for more real American commentary. God bless you. God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America.